The hospital room reeked of antiseptic and broken promises, the kind that seep into your bones and stay there. 5 days I lay in that bed, tubes snaking from my arm, my chest heavy with more than just the weight of recovery. My engagement ring, an $18,000 vow from Mark, the man who saw me when no one else did, was supposed to be safe. My parents had sworn it would be. Safekeeping, they'd said, their voices dripping with false warmth. I trusted them because I wanted to believe, despite everything, that they could be the parents I'd always longed for. When the discharge nurse asked who was picking me up, I said, my parents. My voice steady with a hope I'd forced myself to cling to. They'd promised that too. But an hour later, standing in the waiting area, with a hospital bracelet dangling from my wrist, my phone buzzed with a text that sliced deeper than any scalpel. Just take an Uber. You'll be fine. No punctuation, no apology, just a cold dismissal. I slumped into the back of an Uber, the driver's chatter about fantasy football fading into a dull hum. My head throbbed, my heart ached, and all I could think was, 5 days in a hospital bed, and they couldn't even give me a ride home. Mark wasn't there either. I'd insisted he go on his work trip, told him it was important, that my parents would handle things. I thought I could trust them with one simple task. I was wrong. At home I showered, the hot water doing nothing to wash away the sting of betrayal. I sat on the edge of my bed, staring at the empty space on my finger where my ring should have been. That ring wasn't just a diamond, it was proof that I was worthy, that someone saw me as enough. Mark had saved for months, every dollar a quiet promise that I deserved love, not leftovers. And now it was gone. My parents had insisted on holding it during my surgery. Safekeeping, they'd said again, their smiles too polished, too rehearsed. I should have known. When I arrived at their house, Mom opened the door before I could knock, her smile sharp, like she'd been waiting to deliver a wound. Dad sat in his recliner, half watching the news, barely sparing me a glance. I came to get my engagement ring, I said, my voice steady despite the tremor in my chest. They exchanged that look, the silent pact I'd seen my whole life, the one that always left me on the outside. Mom's smile widened, cruel and triumphant. Well, thanks to your ring, your brother's finally having the time of his life. Miami sunshine, he deserves it. The words hit like a punch to the gut. You sold my engagement ring? My voice cracked, betraying the hurt I'd tried to bury. Dad leaned forward casual, like he was explaining the score of a game. Don't look so shocked. You'll be married soon. You'll get another ring. The air thinned, my lungs fighting to keep up. Mark's sacrifice, his love, reduced to a transaction for my brother's dream party. Ryan, always Ryan, the golden boy who got everything while I was taught to be grateful for scraps. You didn't even ask me, I whispered, gripping the back of a chair to keep from collapsing. Mom waved a hand dismissive. You'd have just said no. You've always been like that. A laugh tore free, raw and jagged, startling even me. Mom's eyes narrowed. What's so funny? I met her gaze, my heart a tangle of grief and defiance. Do you really want to know? Their smugness faltered just for a moment and I saw it, fear creeping into their eyes. You'll find out soon enough. I didn't tell them the truth, that I'd given them a fake ring, that the real one was hidden safely at home. I'd known deep down they'd betray me. I'd wanted proof and they'd given it to me in spades. I walked out, leaving their stunned silence behind, but the victory felt hollow. My parents had chosen Ryan over me again, and no replica could erase that wound. In the car, I sat at the end of their street, headlights off, my hands trembling on the wheel. The pain wasn't new. It was every birthday where Ryan's cake towered over mine, every Christmas where his gifts sparkled while mine were practical. It was the pink bike with the bent handlebar when I turned 10, while Ryan got a shiny new one with racing stripes. It was Mom's voice, sharp and certain. "Don't be dramatic." It was years of being told I was imagining the favoritism, that I should be grateful for scraps. And now this, my engagement ring, the symbol of the life I'd built despite them, sold for Ryan's fleeting joy. The calls started that night, Mom, Dad, then Ryan, their voices a mix of panic and blame. "The ring's fake," Mom spat as if I'd betrayed them. "You humiliated us." "You stole from me," I said, my voice low and steady. "You sold what wasn't yours. That's theft." They begged, pleaded, accused. "You set us up," Mom cried. "Why would you do this to your family?" I laughed, bitter and broken. "Family? You've never treated me like family." They'd sold the fake ring for $9,000 to a shady buyer who wasn't amused when the appraisal came back. They'd maxed out credit cards, taken payday loans, and now their house was at risk. They came to my door 3 days later, desperate, Ryan trailing behind like a scolded child. "We need $9,000, Dad said, his voice cracking. "It's serious, Emily." "It's always serious for Ryan," I said, my heart heavy but resolute. "But never for me." I closed the door on their pleas, their faces pale with the weight of their choices. Ryan called later, his voice raw. "Because of you, they might lose the house." "No," I said, my voice cold. "Because of you, they did." The fallout was quiet, but devastating. They sold the house, moved into a cramped rental, their reputation in tatters. Family group chats buzzed with shock, cousins and aunts piecing together the truth. I posted my side, raw and unfiltered, and watched the tide turn. For once I wasn't the villain. They were. At my wedding 2 months later, I walked down the aisle with the real ring glinting on my finger. Mark's hand was warm in mine, his love a steady anchor. My parents and Ryan weren't there, not by accident but by choice. I didn't invite them. For the first time, I felt whole without them. A year later, pregnant and glowing, I ignored their messages about wanting to see the baby. "You're being cruel," an aunt texted. "Haven't they suffered enough?" I thought of the hospital, the Uber, the ring they sold without a second thought. "No," I replied, "they haven't. They'd lost their house, their pride, but I'd lost something deeper. Parents who never saw me as enough." And yet, as I rested my hand on my belly, feeling the life growing inside, I knew I'd built something better. A family that chose me, not as an afterthought, but as everything. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe for more stories of resilience and truth.